What up, what up, what up? How are y'all doing? Like usual, I'm doing great. The point of this video is what's going to happen with the heavyweight division, in particular, Deontay Wilder. Now, Deontay Wilder's kind of in a tough spot, if you ask me. Because the last update we got on his mediation and arbitration is that it's still ongoing. And you wonder how could that be if Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn are pretty much finalizing the deal for AJ versus Fury and even starting to look for locations. So how could that be possible? And my advice to Deontay Wilder would be simply move on. Because after the Tyson Fury thing, you're going to have a lawsuit with Mark Breland. I can feel it coming already. Mark Breland is going to file a lawsuit for defamation of character. Whatever the legal terms are. I'm not a lawyer, but according to Spencer Farron, before his infamous Mark Breland interview, he had to speak to Breland's lawyer. So why would Breland's lawyer be involved for a simple interview? Why would the interviewer, in this case Spencer Farron, have to consult Breland's lawyer? What that says to me is Breland's getting ready to sue Deontay Wilder. So Wilder's got that on the back end that I'm sure is going to come up. And right now he's in the middle of this Tyson Fury fiasco, trying to get the third fight. Well, the reason why I don't think we're hearing anything regarding the mediation, because it's probably a hush-up act, or both sides can't talk about it. But what I'm willing to bet happened is that Fury told the mediator, hey, I'm not going to fight this guy. The contract expired. I got to move on. I've already been out of the ring a year. It'll be a year, February 22nd. And I got to move on with my career. For whatever reason why the third fight never happened, it didn't. And according to the contract, or according to what Bob Arum has said, is that it expired. And now Wilder, realizing that he has really nowhere else to go as far as big money fights, he's bringing this to mediation and I guess now arbitration, because that's the next step. But I'm almost willing to bet what Fury and his team has been saying to Wilder and his team. I'm almost willing to bet Fury is thinking about going the Mark Breland route. Pretty much saying, hey Wilder, if you don't drop this and move on and let me get on with my career, if they mandate me to fight you, then I'm going to sue you for defamation of character. So I guarantee you that's kind of the back and forth play that both sides are dealing with. And it's not going to end good, because if Wilder doesn't drop this and he goes to court, he's going to have to deal with court fees and everything else from Fury. And it wouldn't be hard to prove what Wilder has said, because he's made it public. And he hasn't brought front any proof whatsoever of loaded gloves or spiked water or anything. He hasn't brought any proof to the light of day. And Fury can at least go into court and be like, here's his Instagram video right here. This is what he put out in public. This is what he's accusing me of. He's defaming my character right here. On video. I got it. I can send it to you. I'm not making it up. And then he's also going to have to go in front of the courts for Mark Breland. So, the best advice Wilder could get right now, for one, is to get in the gym. Start training. He could be. I don't know. I haven't seen any videos of him in the gym, nothing. And second, I would seriously sit down with your legal team and advisors and be like, is it really worth it? Because Fury's already came out and said that, if he was a scumbag, he'd sue Deontay Wilder. Well, if Wilder keeps pushing this issue on the third fight, and he doesn't let Tyson Fury get on with his career, I guarantee you, Fury will just turn around and be like, all right, I'm suing you for defamation of character. So if we have a third fight, I'll beat you in the third fight, and then I'll take all your winnings after I beat you in the lawsuit. Because it's plain and day. It's online. Anybody can see it. I'm sure a judge could see it. But hey, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a boxing fan talking out of my ass. But I would think that's what Fury's thinking. Hey, leave me alone, buddy, or I'm going to sue you. And you don't want me to sue you because it's going to be a lot of money. And then you already have to deal with Mark Breland on the back end. So what Wilder should do is get in the gym and move on from Fury. So if he does that, what does he do next? What does Wilder do? And Dylan White's already tied up with Povetkin. He's going to be fighting in, 3 weeks? He could wait, try to fight the winner, and get back up to the top spot of the WBC division. He can't fight Usyk, I don't believe, because I think Usyk and Joe Joyce is going to come to a deal for the WBO number 1 spot. Joshua just took care of his IBF mandatory, so that's not going to get called for a while. Where does he go? Who does he fight? Charles Martin? He'd probably get a couple million for Charles Martin, but as soon as that fight's announced, including me, will probably say, guy, Anthony Joshua knocked him out in the first round a couple years ago. I mean, what are we doing here? Who? Robert Helenius? He's coming off a big win against, what is it? The baby-faced assassin, Kaunaki. I don't know how to say his name. Helenius. You could fight Helenius. Who else they got? The only real fight, if he wants to make some decent money, that PBC can bring to the table, I hate to say it, would have to be Ruiz. And knowing Ruiz's trainer, who is also Canelo's trainer, is he going to want to throw Ruiz in with Wilder right away after losing all this weight and trying to climb back after his loss to Joshua? So I hate to say it, even though you probably think I'm a Wilder hater. I do want to see Wilder in the ring again. Sooner the better. Because he's exciting to watch every single time. But the walls are closing in on him. And I think this next couple months is going to really show us, if for one, if he still really wants to box at a high level, depending on who he picks. For two, where his future is going, just in life in general. I mean, you don't want to be caught up in court battles and paying money to the lawyers. Nobody wins in court battles. you're not gonna sue Tyson Fury and get 35 million because you weren't even gonna make 35 million in the third fight. You were gonna get 60-40 from for however many sales it did. I don't know exactly how many that was. 700,000. You were gonna get, say if it was 700,000 buys pay-per-view, you split that in half. That's 350,000 buys, and then you take 40% of that. You're probably looking at 15 to 20 in that trilogy fight anyway. So, I mean, it's a tough situation for Wilder, and I think his best bet is to fight the winner of Povetkin and White, or somehow convince Ruiz to fight him. You could put that fight on pay-per-view. It would probably do 300,000, 400,000. Actually, it would probably do a lot more because Ruiz got the Mexican market. So that fight would probably do 500,000. And but it's just a tough situation for Wilder because he just came off making 25. Does he really want to go through a whole camp and fight for 6 or 7? Even 10? That's cutting your payday in half from what it was before. Less than half. I mean, more than half. But for Wilder's sake, if he still wants to box, if he still wants to be relevant, he's got to fight someone decent, and it's got to be soon. You can't wait. You can't wait until September or October. You got to make a decision. Chase Fury and go to court and battle and all this junk, or just move on and get a fight and start working your way to the position of fighting the winner of AJ and Fury. And for Wilder's case, he better hopes AJ wins. Because I truly think that if Fury beats AJ twice, he will retire. He'll pull the Mayweather. He'll disappear for another couple years. Wait to see who's emerging as the next big heavyweight after he leaves. And then he'll come back after a couple years out the ring. So for Wilder's sake, if he wants that last big fight, he better hope and pray that AJ beats Fury twice. Because even if Fury and AJ split 1-1, they're gonna have that third fight, and after that, Fury will disappear. He'll retire. But then AJ will still be young enough, and he'll be like, all right, everybody wanted that Wilder fight. He's still relevant. And AJ would probably give him the fight. But you got to remember, Wilder's getting up there in age. I think he's 35. So, at the very least, he's got to wait a whole other year until he finds out what happens with AJ and Fury. And, unfortunately, if Fury beats Joshua twice, he's going to retire. And that AJ and Wilder fight isn't as big. Now, it'll be a huge fight if AJ beats Fury. Wilder and AJ, after AJ beats Fury twice, would be still a huge fight. It'd be a mega fight. But he's got to stay busy. If I was him, for the most money he could make, it would probably be going to the zone and fight Dillian White on a flat rate of like 10 or 12, maybe 10 or 12 million. I mean, the zone just gave Mikey Garcia 8 to fight Jesse Vargas, so Wilder would at least have to get that. I mean, and the zone gave that to Mikey after coming off a loss to Errol Spence. So you would have to think that Wilder would be getting at least $8 million from the zone flat fee to fight Dillian White. Would he clear that in pay-per-view against Andy Ruiz? I would think you're looking at, I mean, I don't know. Just do some simple math here. Wilder Ruiz sells 500. Let's be generous, say 600,000. Wilder Ruiz sells pay-per-view 600,000. You cut that in half because the networks get half of that off the top. So now we're left with 300,000. 300,000 times 75 equals $22.5 million. Will Ruiz fight for anything less than 50-50? If he doesn't, they agree to 50-50 split. They each walk away with about 11 million. But that's if the fight does 600,000. It's tough to tell. Ruiz could sell. I mean, he had a hell of a year last year. He was all over the place. So that's my thoughts on Wilder and what he should do as far as this whole litigation shit. And he's got to remember, Breland will be bringing him to court. I don't know why else you'd have to talk to someone's lawyer to do a podcast interview. So Wilder's got that on his plate upcoming. And the best bet for him to do is get back in the gym and get back in the ring. You got two options, Ruiz or Dillian White. Peace out. More sauce. Like and subscribe, and see y'all soon. Holla at your boy. Peace.